I woke up on the floor of the break room, cheek pressed against cold tile, someone calling my name like I was underwater. Veronica. Veronica. Hey, come on, stay with me. Beau's face hovered above mine, pale and panicked. I blinked, tried to sit up, but the room spun like a carousel on fire. My name's Veronica. I'm 31, and up until recently, I thought I was just tired. Grieving, a little off my game. But when your legs give out in the middle of pouring coffee and you wake up with your coworker slapping your face gently, something's not right. Don't move, Beau said, crouching beside me. I already called 911. You fainted. I'm fine, I croaked. My tongue felt thick, like I'd been chewing cotton. You're not fine, he said. You've been off for weeks. He wasn't wrong. The past month had been a blur of missed alarms, forgotten meetings, and crying in bathroom stalls for no reason I could name. I thought it was just the grief. My mum had died 6 weeks ago. Complicated grief, the therapist had called it. But grief doesn't make you forget to take your meds. And I never forgot. The hospital ran blood work. They asked about alcohol, drugs, trauma. I told them I was on medication, an SSRI and a mood stabilizer, both low dose, both prescribed for years. The nurse came back with a clipboard and a confused look. There's no trace of either in your system, she said. I stared at her. That's not possible. I take them every morning. She gave a polite, skeptical smile. Well, they're not there. I signed the discharge papers with a shaky hand and sat in the passenger seat of Beau's car while he drove me home. The silence between us was heavy. You trust me, right? He asked, eyes on the road. I nodded slowly. Then, hear me out. I think someone's messing with your meds. I laughed, but it came out dry and bitter. Like what? Someone broke into my apartment to steal my pills and replace them with... what? Tic Tacs? Beau didn't laugh. You said your sister's been over a lot lately. I turned my head toward the window. She has a key. He didn't say anything for a while. Then, softly, let me help you set up a camera. No. Veronica, I'm not paranoid. I didn't say you were, but something's wrong and I don't think it's you. I didn't answer him. I just watched the city blur past the glass, wondering if I was losing my mind. That night, I opened my pillbox and stared at the little compartments. Monday through Sunday. Neat. Predictable. I took Thursday's pills out and held them in my palm. They looked the same shape, same colour. I crushed one between my fingers. It crumbled too easily. I didn't sleep. I lay in bed with the lights on, heart pounding like I'd swallowed a drum. The next morning, Beau showed up with a small, black camera, no bigger than a matchbox. We'll hide it in the bookshelf, he said. Motion activated. No one will know. I chewed my lip. If I'm wrong, if this is just in my head, then we'll know that too. I nodded. We set it up together. One in the living room, one in the kitchen, another in the hallway facing the bedroom door. I didn't tell Ava. 3 nights later, I got the footage. It was raining. I was curled up on the couch with a blanket, Beau beside me, both of us staring at my laptop screen. The timestamp read 10:42 a.m. I was already at work. Ava walked in, wearing a cream trench coat and heels. Her hair was perfect, like always. She moved through my apartment like it belonged to her. I watched her open my medicine cabinet. She pulled out the pillbox, dumped the contents into her palm, then reached into her purse and pulled out a tiny plastic bag. She swapped the pills, one by one. Calm, careful, like she was painting her nails. Then, God, help me. She smiled, not a smirk, a full and delighted smile. She even laughed, just a little. I couldn't breathe. Beau paused the video. You okay? I shook my head. My hands were shaking. He hit play again. Ava closed the cabinet, wiped the counter with a tissue, and left. The whole thing took less than 3 minutes. I stared at the screen long after it went black. "This is criminal," Beau whispered. I didn't answer. I was already standing, walking to the kitchen. I opened the cabinet, took the pillbox out and dumped every fake pill into the trash. Then I took out my phone and started recording. I held up the box. "My name is Veronica. These pills were tampered with by my sister. I have video proof. I'm documenting everything moving forward." Beau watched me, eyes wide. "What are you doing?" he asked. "Starting a paper trail." I uploaded the video to a private folder in the cloud. Then I emailed it to myself. And to someone else. A lawyer. I didn't use my name. Sender, whistle.vivigmail.com. Subject, urgent. Evidence of medical tampering attachment. IMG 48872 move. I stared at the screen for a long time before hitting send. My sister thought she was playing chess with a pawn, but she forgot. Pawns can become queens. I stirred my coffee slowly, watching the cream swirl into a storm. Ava was late, as usual. The brunch place was her pick, all white marble and overpriced mimosas. I wore a plain black sweater and jeans. She'd show up looking like she walked out of a magazine. "Veronica!" Her voice cut through the clatter of silverware and soft jazz. I looked up. She was radiant. Gold hoops, a silk blouse, and that fake warmth she wore like perfume. She kissed my cheek and slid into the booth across from me. "Sorry I'm late. Traffic was a nightmare." She didn't look sorry. She looked smug. I smiled. "No worries. I ordered you an oat milk latte." "Oh, look at you being thoughtful." She sipped it and made a face. "Too sweet," I shrugged. "Guess I forgot how you like things." Her eyes flicked up, sharp for a second, then softened again. "How have you been holding up?" "Fine. I mean, with Mum gone, it's been..." "A lot." I nodded slowly. "Yeah, a lot." The waiter came by, and we ordered. She got the avocado toast with poached eggs. I got pancakes. She raised an eyebrow. "Carbs? That's new." I smiled again. "I'm full of surprises lately." She laughed, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Well, you look better. You were kind of a mess last time I saw you." "You mean when I collapsed?" I asked, tilting my head. She blinked. "I didn't mean it like that. I just meant you seemed overwhelmed." "Yeah, it was weird. Doctors said there was no trace of my meds in my system." Her fork paused midair. I kept going. "Isn't that strange? I take them every day, same time. Never miss." "Huh?" she said lightly, stabbing her egg. "Maybe the pharmacy messed up." "Maybe," I said, "or maybe someone's been swapping them." She looked up, eyes wide. "What?" I leaned in a little. "I mean, it would have to be someone with a key. Someone who knows where I keep them." Ava's smile froze. "Are you accusing me of something?" I sat back. "No, of course not. Just thinking out loud." She laughed again, louder this time. "God, you've always had such an imagination." I shrugged. "Maybe. Or maybe I just finally started paying attention." She didn't reply. She just picked at her toast, her jaw a little too tight. When the check came, she reached for it. "Let me get this. You're still not working, right?" "I went back last week." "Oh, good for you." I took the receipt from her hand and glanced at the total. "Thanks, Ava, really." She leaned back, crossing her legs. "You know, Mum always worried about you. She used to say Veronica's too sensitive for the real world." I guess she was right. I looked her dead in the eye. "Funny. She told me something different before she died." Ava's lips parted just slightly. "What do you mean?" I stood up and grabbed my coat. "She saw through you. In the end." I left her sitting there, blinking, her perfect brunch unraveling. That night, I sent the footage to Benson. I didn't use my name. just a burner email and a short message. This video shows Ava tampering with medication. Please verify authenticity. More to come. I attached the clip of her swapping the pills. Then I called Reagan. Hello? Her voice was groggy but alert. Aunt Reagan, it's me. Veronica, sweetheart, is everything okay? I hesitated. Can you come to the will reading? It's next Friday. She was quiet for a moment. I plan to. I'm not sure Ava wants me there. I want you there. Her voice softened. I'll be there. I exhaled slowly. Thank you. She paused. Your mother, she spoke to me the week before she passed. What did she say? She was different, tired, but clear. She said she'd made changes, that she finally saw things for what they were. My heart thudded in my chest. What kind of changes? She didn't say, just that she wanted to make things right. I couldn't sleep. I kept seeing Ava's smile in that video, the way she laughed as she poisoned my sanity. I opened the footage again, watching it frame by frame. Then I saw it. At the edge of the screen, just before Ava left, another figure, a woman, shorter, blonde. She stood in the hallway for a second, then disappeared. I paused, zoomed. It was blurry, but I knew that face. Lindsay, Ava's best friend, her shadow since high school. I hadn't seen her in months. I rewound the footage. Lindsay had a key. She was in on it. I stared at the screen, my jaw clenched. 2 of them. They wanted me out of the picture. I opened my drawer and pulled out a folder. Inside were fake therapy notes, a mock diagnosis, and a doctored voicemail from a doctor saying they were concerned about my stability. I printed them all. Then I placed them in a folder labelled Veronica Private. I left it on my desk, right where it could be found. I also edited a second video, one where the footage cuts off just before Ava swaps the pills. I uploaded it to a folder on a flash drive labelled Security Footage Apartment. I placed that in my drawer, slightly open. Let them find it. Let them think I was sloppy. Let them get comfortable. Because the real footage, the real story, that was going somewhere else entirely. And I was just getting started. The last time I saw my mother alive, she made me tea. It was a Saturday, late afternoon. The sun was bleeding through the curtains, casting everything in that orange, too honest light that makes even dust feel dramatic. She was already thin, her cheekbones sharp, her eyes softer than I remembered. Sit, she said, gesturing to the window seat. I made chamomile. I blinked. You hate chamomile. She smiled faintly. I've changed. I sat. The tea was hot, steeped too long, but I drank it anyway. She watched me over the rim of her cup. You and Ava, are you two speaking? I shrugged. We exist in the same orbit. She nodded slowly. That's my fault. I looked up. What? She set her cup down. Her hands were trembling just a little. I made you compete for my love. I didn't mean to, but I did. I thought if I pushed you, you'd toughen up. And if I praised Ava, maybe she'd stop needing it so badly. I didn't know what to say. She leaned back into the cushions. But I got it wrong. You were already strong. And Ava, she learned how to perform. I stared at her. This woman who used to sigh when I cried, who called me dramatic when I said I couldn't breathe through panic, who told me to just smile more when I was 17 and couldn't get out of bed. I should have protected you, she said, voice cracking. I swallowed hard. Why are you telling me this now? She looked out the window. Because I don't have much time, and because I've made arrangements. What kind of arrangements? She didn't answer, just reached into the drawer beside her and pulled out an envelope. Give this to Benson, no one else. I took it. It was sealed with red wax, her initials pressed into it. She closed her eyes for a moment. I saw Ava do something last year, something that scared me. What did she do? She lied about money, about charity funds. I confronted her. She said it was a mistake, but her eyes... She trailed off. I waited. She looked at me like I was in her way. I stood in my apartment now, that memory burning behind my eyes, and watched the footage again. There she was, Ava, swapping pills like she was folding laundry. And then Lindsay, holding the door open, glancing around like a raccoon in heels. I paused the video, rewound, watched it again. They were in this together. I pulled out my phone and called Beau. "Hey," he answered, "are you okay? I need your help again. Tell me where and when." We met at a diner off 8th. Greasy booths, bad coffee, perfect for what I had in mind. I slid my laptop across the table. "Watch." He leaned in, eyes narrowing. "That's not just Ava." "Nope." "Is that Lindsay?" "Yep." He sat back. "Jesus." "I want to bait them," I said. "Make them think I'm spiraling, that I don't know what's real." He looked at me carefully. "You sure you want to go that far?" "They want me out of the will. They want me unstable. I'm giving them exactly what they want." He nodded slowly. "Okay, what do you need?" "Help planting more fake evidence. I want them to think I'm keeping secrets, that I'm losing it. I want them to get cocky." He grinned. "You're terrifying." "Thank you." Back at my apartment, we got to work. I printed therapy notes that hinted at delusions, scribbled fake journal entries, left them half tucked under my bed. Beau helped me record a voicemail from a doctor expressing concern about my behaviour. I saved it in my inbox, flagged as unread. Then I edited a second version of the footage, cutting it just before Ava touched the pills. I labelled it Security Footage Draft and left it on my desktop. We even staged a fake voicemail from me to Ava. "Hey, I'm not feeling right. I think I'm seeing things again. Can we talk?" Beau looked around my apartment when we were done. "This place looks like a crime scene." "Good," I said. "Now we wait." 3 days later, I got the call. "Hey, it's Ava. I was thinking we should talk about the will reading." I kept my voice flat. "Okay. Maybe we could meet at Mum's house? Tomorrow?" "Sure." She paused. "Are you okay?" "No," I said. Not really." She didn't respond. The next morning, I walked through the front door of the family home. The air smelled like old perfume and lemon polish. Ava was already there, pacing in the living room. "You look tired," she said, eyeing me. "Didn't sleep." She nodded like she expected that. "Look, I know things have been tense, but I want us to be a team. With Mum gone, we need each other." I said nothing. She stepped closer. "I've always looked out for you, you know, even when you didn't see it." "Right," I said quietly. She smiled. "And I know you've been struggling. I found some of your notes, the ones about hearing voices." I blinked. "You were in my apartment?" She didn't flinch. "Just trying to help?" I let the silence hang. Then I said, "You know what's funny? Mum changed her will." Ava froze. "What?" I tilted my head. "She gave Benson a new envelope. The day after she saw you last." Her eyes flickered. "That's not possible." "She told me she saw what you really were." Ava stepped back. "You're lying." I smiled. "We'll see." That night, I opened my laptop and watched the footage again. Ava and Lindsay, breaking in, swapping pills. I uploaded it to a private server. Then, I opened the envelope my mother had given me. Inside was a note. "If anything happens to me, trust Benson. I've told him everything. You're not crazy, Veronica. You were never crazy. Love, Mum." I folded the letter carefully and placed it in my safe. Then I looked at the screen again. Paused on Ava's face. Let her smile. She had no idea what was coming. The will reading was held in the library of my mother's house. Mahogany walls, velvet drapes, and the scent of old paper and lavender still clinging to the air like a ghost. I arrived early. Beau came with me, just in case. Not that he was invited, but I needed someone in my corner. He waited in the car. Ava showed up 15 minutes late, of course. She swept in like it was a fashion editorial shoot. Cream blazer, gold jewellery, hair in soft waves. She gave me a once-over and smiled, like she'd already won. "Hi, sis," she said, voice syrupy. "You look, well." I didn't reply, just nodded once and took my seat. Reagan was already there, seated near the fireplace. She gave me a small, warm smile. Ava didn't even look at her. Benson entered next, holding 2 envelopes, one thick, one thin. He set them on the desk and cleared his throat. "Thank you all for coming. As you know, we're here to read the final will and testament of your mother, Natalie." Ava crossed her legs and leaned back, her eyes flicking to the thicker envelope. "I've reviewed the documents thoroughly," Benson continued. "There are some complexities, but we'll begin with the version originally submitted." He opened the thick envelope and read aloud. "To my daughters, Ava and Veronica, I leave the family home and all financial assets to be shared equally. Ava will also receive the contents of my personal jewellery collection and the trust fund set aside for charitable giving." Ava smiled, tilted her chin up like she was being knighted. I kept my hands folded in my lap. "That," Benson said, "was the original document, signed and sealed on March 3rd. Ava beamed. "As expected," Benson held up a finger. "However, your mother returned to my office 3 weeks later. She brought a new envelope. This one." He picked up the thin envelope. Ava's smile faltered. "Wait, what?" She instructed me very clearly to destroy the previous version. I didn't. I kept both, because she seemed unsettled and I wanted to be sure. Ava sat forward. "That's not legal. You can't just—" Benson cut her off. She signed the new version in front of 2 witnesses. "It's valid, and before I read it, she asked me to play something." He turned to the TV mounted on the wall, picked up a remote, pressed play. The room went still. The screen lit up with my apartment, the timestamp in the corner. Ava walking in, opening the cabinet, swapping pills, gasps. Reagan stood up, hand over her mouth. "No," Ava said, standing quickly. "That's fake. That's edited. She's lying." Benson paused the video. "We had it authenticated. It's real." "I didn't." Ava turned to me, eyes wide. "You set me up." I tilted my head. "You made it easy." Reagan stepped forward. "This is attempted medical abuse. You could have killed her." Lindsay, who had been standing quietly by the door, suddenly spoke up. "I didn't touch anything. I was just helping Ava clean. That's it." Ava turned on her. "Don't you dare." Benson held up the second envelope. "Shall we continue?" No one answered. He opened it and began to read. "To my daughter, Veronica, I leave the family home, all financial assets, and the charitable trust. Ava is to receive nothing. This decision is final and made with full awareness. I have seen enough to know where my trust belongs." Ava's mouth opened and closed, but no sound came out. Benson continued. "I have also instructed that a donation be made in my name to Veronica's nonprofit. The rest is at her discretion." The room was silent. Then Ava laughed, a short, sharp sound. "She forged it. This is insane." Benson turned to her calmly. "Your mother left a handwritten letter in my possession, dated, signed, and matching her handwriting from previous documents. She also left a voice memo. He pressed play again. My mother's voice filled the room. If you're hearing this, then Ava has done what I feared. I didn't always believe Veronica. I should have. I failed her, and I won't fail her again. This is my truth. Ava stood frozen. Reagan sat down slowly, tears in her eyes. Lindsay quietly backed toward the door. I stood. We're done here. Ava turned to me, eyes blazing. You think this makes you better than me? No, I said, just smarter. She lunged forward, but Reagan stepped between us. Don't, Reagan said firmly, and it's over. Ava's chest heaved. You'll regret this. I looked her in the eye. You haven't seen the worst part yet. I walked out, leaving her standing there in the ruins of her performance. Beau was waiting outside, leaning against the car. Well, he asked. I handed him the flash drive. She knows, but it's not over. He raised an eyebrow. What's next? I slid into the passenger seat and buckled in. Now, I said, we burn the rest of her world down. Ava showed up at my door just after midnight. She banged hard, like a cop or a storm, and I knew it was her before I even looked through the peephole. I opened the door slowly, keeping the chain on. She was crying, mascara streaking down her cheeks, hair wild like she'd been running her hands through it non-stop. You bitch, she said, voice cracking. You absolute bitch. I didn't say anything. You think this is over? You think you won? I blinked at her. You want to come in? She stared at me, stunned. What? I said, do you want to come in, or do you want to keep screaming in the hallway like a lunatic? She hesitated, then nodded once. I closed the door, undid the chain, and opened it fully. She stepped inside, arms crossed, shaking. I shut the door behind her. Sit down. She didn't. She paced instead like a caged animal. You humiliated me, she hissed, in front of the entire family. You drugged me, I said calmly. So we're even. She spun to face me. You don't get it. You don't get what you've done. No, Ava, you don't get what you did. You tried to erase me. And for what? Money? She laughed bitterly. You think this was about the inheritance? This was about Mom. About her always siding with you in the end. About her turning on me. She didn't turn on you. She saw you. Ava's face crumpled. She was mine, Veronica. She was mine. You were the mistake. You were the one she apologized for. I stepped closer. And yet, she gave everything to me. What does that tell you? She lunged forward, grabbing my arm. You think this is justice? You think this is some moral victory? You're just like her now. Cold. Calculating. I pulled away. Maybe, but at least I'm not a criminal. She backed up, breathing hard. I'll ruin you. I still can. I nodded. You haven't seen the worst part yet. Her eyes narrowed. What does that mean? I walked to the kitchen, opened a drawer and pulled out a folder. I tossed it on the table. She stared at it like it was a bomb. What is that? Records? Emails? Bank statements? From the charity you managed last year. She didn't move. I kept going. You funneled money into a private account, then lied to the board. You thought Mom didn't notice, but she did. She kept everything. And now I have it. She shook her head. You're bluffing. I opened the folder, showed her the copies, the account numbers, the transfers. She staggered back like I'd hit her. You're bluffing, she repeated, weaker this time. I sent it to a reporter this morning, I said. Anonymous tip. They're fact-checking now. She collapsed into a chair, staring at the floor. I didn't think you'd do it, she whispered. I thought you were too soft. I sat across from her. That's the problem. You never saw me clearly. She looked up, eyes red. What do you want? An apology? Fine. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I hurt you. I'm sorry I took your pills. I'm sorry I tried to cut you out. You happy now? I stared at her. No, but I'm not doing this for happy. She stood suddenly. I'll fight it. I'll get lawyers. Good luck with that. Your accounts are frozen. The foundation already started an internal audit, and the moment the story drops, your name's done. She stormed to the door, then turned back. You think this makes you better than me? No, I said. It just makes me free. She slammed the door behind her. The next morning, I woke up to 3 missed calls from Lindsay, 2 from a blocked number, and 1 from an unknown reporter. Bo texted. You're trending. Heir to deceit. Check the blog. I clicked the link. There it was. Ava's face, smiling in a cropped photo from a gala under the headline, Charity Queen or Con Artist, inside the scandal of a fallen heiress. The article was brutal, detailed, relentless. I scrolled through the comments. People were furious. Donors demanding refunds, old co-workers coming forward, anonymous sources confirming the fraud. Then my phone rang. Bo. Hey, I answered. You okay? He asked. I don't know. She's going to lose everything. I know. She hired a private investigator, he said, to dig into you. She's planning a press conference. I closed my eyes. Let her. You sure? I've got it covered. That night, I sat in the dark, watching the city lights flicker outside my window. My phone buzzed again. Blocked number. I let it go to voicemail. Then another. Then another. I finally picked up on the 4th ring. You think this is over? Ava's voice hissed. I will bury you. You think you're safe, but you're not. You're just a sad little girl playing pretend. I hit record on my second phone. She kept going. You're still crazy, Veronica. You always were. And when I'm done, everyone will know it. I hung up. Then I copied the recording and saved it to a folder marked Phase 2. Let her hold her press conference. Let her try. I had more than enough left to destroy her. The key was hidden inside a charm bracelet. One of those cheap silver ones Mum used to wear when we were little. It had a tiny heart, a piano, a miniature book. I found it in the bottom drawer of her vanity, tucked in a velvet pouch. I held it up to the light, and there it was, a tiny notch in the clasp. I pressed it and a compartment popped open. Inside was a single key. I knew what it opened. The storage unit was on the edge of town, behind a gas station and a row of shuttered shops. The man at the front desk barely looked up when I handed him the tag. Unit 47, he said, sliding me the clipboard. The door creaked when I opened it. Inside, it smelled like cedar and paper and something older, like time itself had been boxed and shelved. I flicked on the light. There were 3 boxes, all labelled Personal, Natalie. I opened the first one. Letters, dozens of them. Some addressed to me, some never sent. Some were to Ava, some were to no one. I opened one at random. I saw the bank statement today. Ava's name was on the transfer. I asked her and she lied. She looked me in the eye and lied. I sat down hard. Another letter. Veronica is the only one who visits without asking for anything. I've treated her like a shadow all her life. I don't know how to fix that, but I'm trying. The second box held audio tapes, labelled by date. I pulled out a small recorder and hit play. Mum's voice crackled through. March 15th. I watched Ava delete emails on my laptop. She didn't know I was watching. She's hiding something. I'm scared of her. My hands trembled as I hit stop. The third box was the one that mattered most. Bank statements, copies of checks, printouts of Ava's fake charity expenses. A full timeline. It was everything. I took photos of everything, scanned the letters, uploaded the audio files to a secure drive. Then I picked up my phone and called the reporter. "Hi," I said. "I have more for you. And this time it's not just about money." The blog post went live 3 days later. Heir to deceit. New evidence suggests pattern of fraud, manipulation, and elder exploitation. It was brutal, and it was everywhere. Screenshots of Ava's fake invoices, audio of Mum's voice saying, "I'm scared of her," a quote from me, anonymous but unmistakable. She didn't just lie, she made me question my sanity. Bo called me an hour after it dropped. "She's going nuclear," he said. "She's threatening lawsuits, calling everyone a liar." "She can't sue the truth," I said. "She's trying anyway." I opened my email. 3 threats from Ava's lawyer, 1 from Ava herself. Then a 4th email came in. No subject, no body. Just a single attachment, a photo of me taken from behind, walking into my building. I stared at it. Then another came in. Me at the grocery store, me on my balcony. Bo's voice was sharp. "Veronica, you still there? She's having me followed." "Jesus! She's trying to scare me." He was quiet for a second. "Is it working?" I looked out the window. The street was quiet, normal, but I felt it, eyes somewhere. "No," I said. "It's not." That night, I met with Benson in his office. He looked tired, but when I handed him the flash drive, he smiled. "She kept everything," he said, scrolling through the files. "Your mother didn't trust easily, but she trusted you at the end." "I didn't know," I said. "Not until that last visit." He looked up. "She told me to protect you. That was her final instruction." I nodded. "Then let's finish this." The press conference was announced the next morning. Ava's team sent out a media alert. Clarifying the truth. Ava Chapman to address recent allegations. Bo forwarded it to me with a single line. "She's walking into a trap." I smiled, because I had one more card to play. The day of the conference, I wore black, not for mourning, for war. I sat in the back of the crowd, sunglasses on, hood up. No one noticed me. Ava stepped up to the podium in a crisp white suit, her hair pulled back, her makeup flawless. She looked like a woman ready to reclaim her crown. "I want to start by saying these accusations are false," she said. "They're the result of a deeply disturbed individual with a documented mental health history." She paused for effect. "My sister, Veronica, has struggled for years. I've always tried to support her, but this has gone too far." She gestured to a folder on the podium. "These are therapy records, emails, voicemails, proof that she's been unstable, that she fabricated these stories." She opened the folder and found nothing, just a single piece of paper, a printed quote. "If you're watching this, then Ava has done what I feared." Ava froze. The screen behind her flickered to life. My mother's face appeared, pale, tired, but clear. "If you're watching this," she said, "then Ava has done what I feared. I didn't always believe Veronica. I should have. I failed her. But I see clearly now. This is my truth." Gasps. Cameras clicked. Reporters stood. Ava backed away from the podium, shaking her head. No, that's fake. That's not real." But it was, and the whole world was watching. The press conference ended in chaos. Reporters swarmed the stage, shouting questions. Camera flashes lit Ava's face like lightning. She stood frozen, lips parted, eyes darting like a cornered animal. The video of Mum, her voice, her confession, played on a loop behind her. There was no coming back from that. I slipped out before anyone noticed me. Outside, Bo was waiting in the car, engine running. "You did it," he said as I climbed in. "No," I said, slamming the door shut. "She did it to herself." By the time we got back to my apartment, the video had gone viral. Clips were everywhere. TikTok edits, Twitter threads, headlines like "Daughter Disowned, Ava Chapman exposed by her own mother." My inbox was flooded. Reporters, lawyers, distant cousins suddenly checking in. I ignored them all. Bo handed me a drink and sat beside me on the couch. "So, what now?" "She'll fight," I said. "She'll try to spin it. Say the video was deep-faked or Mum was manipulated. Won't work. Too much evidence." I nodded. "She doesn't know I still have the voicemail." Bo frowned. "The one where she threatens you?" I pulled out my phone and played it again. "You think this is over? I will bury you. You think you're safe, but you're not. You're just a sad little girl playing pretend." He shook his head. "That's not just anger. That's desperation." I stared at the screen. "She's unraveling." The next morning, Ava disappeared. Her lawyer issued a vague statement. "Ms. Chapman is taking time to focus on her mental health." That was code for hiding. Her accounts were frozen. The non-profit board announced a full investigation. Donors pulled out. Her name was scrubbed from the website within hours. I watched it all unfold from my kitchen table, eating toast and sipping coffee like it was any other Thursday. Bo scrolled through his phone. "You're officially famous." "I don't want to be famous." "Well, too late." He looked up. "You okay?" I nodded. "I think so." He leaned forward. "You did something most people wouldn't have had the guts to do." "I didn't have a choice." He smiled. "That's not true. You had a choice, and you chose to fight back." I looked at him for a long moment. "Thank you for believing me." "Always." Later that day, I walked into the family house for the first time since the reading. It was quiet, still smelled like lemon polish and the faint trace of Mum's perfume. I walked through the rooms slowly, touching the backs of chairs, the edges of picture frames. In the living room, I found Reagan sitting on the couch, sipping tea. She looked up and smiled. "I was wondering when you'd come." I sat beside her. She studied my face. "You look different." "Lighter?" "Sharper." We sat in silence for a moment. Then she said, "Was it worth it?" I didn't answer right away. Finally I said, "Ask me in 10 years." She nodded. "Fair." I reached into my bag and handed her a folder. "This is everything. The letters, the audio, the bank records. I want it archived somewhere safe." She took it without question. "I'll make sure it is." I stood. "I'm going to make some changes." "To the house?" "To everything." The next week, I called a meeting at the non-profit where I worked. The director looked surprised to see me walk in with a folder and a calm smile. "I'm donating a portion of my inheritance," I said, "but I want to rename the centre." Everyone looked at me. "The Natalie Centre," I said, "for women dealing with mental health issues, especially those who've been silenced." There was a pause, then applause. That night, I sat on the balcony with Bo, watching the city lights blink like stars. "You really did it," he said. I shrugged. "I just told the truth." He looked at me. "You kept the folder, didn't you?" I didn't answer. He smiled. "Smart." I pulled out my phone and opened my cloud storage. One folder remained. Insurance. Inside, the raw footage, the voicemail, the letters, the emails, everything. Just in case. Bo raised his glass. "To karma." I clinked mine against his. "To consequences." And for the first time in a long time, I felt free. I walked through the house barefoot. No more Ava. No more Mom. Just me and the echo of old arguments in the walls. The furniture was covered in white sheets, like the past was trying to hide itself. In the dining room, the long table sat untouched. I ran my fingers across the wood, remembering the nights I sat here in silence, while Ava charmed the room, and Mum beamed like she'd raised royalty. I opened the French doors and stepped into the backyard. The air was cool. The grass had grown wild. I kicked off my shoes and walked through it. Behind me, the screen door creaked open. "You always liked this yard," Reagan said, carrying 2 mugs of tea. I took one and sat on the edge of the porch. She joined me, her knees cracking as she lowered herself down. "You've been quiet." "Just thinking." She sipped her tea. "About Ava. About everything." She looked at me. "You did what had to be done." I stared out at the trees. I still wanted a sister, even after everything. Some part of me thought, maybe if she just said sorry, if she just meant it. Reagan didn't speak. I took a long breath. But she didn't, and maybe she never will. "She won't," she said softly. "Some people can't look at what they've done. It'd break them." I nodded. I didn't want to break her. "But you did." I looked at Reagan. "Was it too far?" She set her mug down. "You exposed the truth. She did the rest." I didn't answer. After a moment, Reagan stood. "Come inside when you're ready." I made lemon bars. Back in the house, I wandered into Mum's old bedroom. The bed was stripped, the closet empty, but the vanity was still there. I opened the drawer and pulled out the charm bracelet again. The little heart charm caught the light. She'd left me the key. That had to mean something. In the mirror, I saw myself. Not the girl Ava used to mock, not the shadow Mum used to pity, just me. My phone buzzed on the nightstand. A message from Beau. "They dropped the investigation. You're finally free." I stared at the screen for a second, then smiled. The next morning, I walked into the Natalie Centre. It was already buzzing. Clients in the waiting area, volunteers setting up a new art therapy workshop. The sign out front was simple. The Natalie Centre, Mental Health Support for Women. Inside, the walls were painted soft green. Calm. Safe. Beau was in the break room pouring coffee. He looked up. "You're early." I couldn't sleep. He handed me a mug. "Big day?" "Every day's a big day now." He smiled. People keep asking me about you. Like you're some kind of legend." I laughed. "Please don't say that. They want to know how you stayed so calm, how you didn't lose your mind through all of it." I took a sip. I did lose my mind for a while, but I got it back. He leaned against the counter. "You going to tell them the whole story someday?" "Maybe." "Even the part where you kept a secret folder labelled insurance?" I raised an eyebrow. He grinned. "You don't think I know?" I shrugged. "Just in case." He nodded. "Smart." That afternoon, I stood in the centre's new therapy room. Sunlight poured through the windows. One of the clients, a young woman with a nervous smile, was painting a tree with blue leaves. She looked up. "Are you the one who started this place?" I hesitated. "Kind of. My mum helped too, in her own way." She nodded. "It's nice here. I feel like I can breathe." I smiled. "That's the point." Later, I sat in my office and opened my laptop. I scrolled through the folders in my cloud. Letters, videos, voicemails, everything that had brought me to this point. I hovered over the folder labelled insurance. Then I right-clicked it. Delete. Confirmation popped up. "Are you sure?" I stared at it. Then I clicked yes. Gone. Not because I wasn't afraid anymore, but because I didn't need it. That night, Reagan called. "I saw the article," she said. "They're calling you the quiet storm." I laughed. "Sounds dramatic." "Maybe, but accurate." "What's?" She paused. "Are you okay?" "I think I am." "That's good. You deserve that." I looked out my window. The city lights blinked, steady and bright. "I'm not angry anymore," I said. "That's how you know it's over." I nodded. Yeah, it's over. She was quiet for a moment. I'm proud of you, Veronica. My throat tightened. Thank you. We hung up. I sat in the quiet for a long time. No more pretending. No more proving. No more fighting to be seen. I had the house, the truth, the peace, and for the first time in my life, I had the final word.